Your vehicle drove up the side of Jessica Lloyd's house. Your boots walked to the back of Jessica Lloyd's house on the evening of the 28th and 29th of January. Okay, you want discretion. We need to have some honesty, okay? Because this is getting out of control really fast, Russell. Okay, really, really fast.
What's going on, everybody? How are you doing today? This is a difficult subject. It's a difficult topic. This is the story of Russell Williams, one of the most infamous killers in Canadian history. Technically, he's not a serial killer because a serial killer has to kill 3 or more people. He murdered 2. I think he's a serial killer. I think more than one should be considered. Here I am in Brighton, Ontario. Russell Williams was an Air Force commander at the Trenton base here for the Canadian Armed Forces. Seemingly normal, upstanding. I mean, he was the head of the base. Like the mayor of the base is basically what is the commander of the base is. Not too far from here. And this guy led a double life. Most serial killers do, but this takes the cake. He had 2 homes, one in Ottawa, one in Tweed, Ontario, and I'm going to be taking you there soon. And he started off, he went to U of T, University of Toronto. He was a prankster there, hiding, scaring his fellow classmates there, which is kind of weird, kind of a foreshadowing of things to come of what he was like. But then, as he was rising through the ranks, he flew dignitaries all around the world. Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip, Prime Minister Jean Chrétien. He was the guy that flew them around. But he had a dark side. He started off breaking and entering. Over 82 houses, breaking and entering. Now, he wasn't stealing TVs, he wasn't stealing jewelry. He was stealing underwear, bras of young girls, women, sex toys, things like that. And then it was in Tweed he was doing that, and out near Ottawa, our capital, is where he was doing things like that. And then here in Brighton, and then he committed 2 sexual assaults. He escalated, but he let them go. He assaulted the women, took photographs of them. He meticulously documented everything he did. Every item that he took, and every photo and video. And then he escalated to murder. And it's in a house right here in Brighton. Marie-France Comeau, who was also in the armed forces, and he knew. He waited inside her house for her in November of 2009 and murdered her. Assaulted her and murdered her. So I'm going to take you to that house first, then we're going to go somewhere else. Okay, let's go. The house with the beige car, with the garage door open.
Marie-France Comeau.
There was an open window in the basement of her house when she was away. I went in there a couple of nights before she came home. Looked around. I went back in there late at night when she was at home. She was on the phone in her bedroom. she actually discovered me in the basement. She was trying to get her cat to come upstairs, and the cat was in the basement, had seen me and was fixated on me in the corner. She couldn't get the cat up, so she came downstairs to try and get the cat, and I'm not more sure why she came over to me. I guess the cat was staring at me, and she was wondering what the cat was staring at. Lights were on. So when she spotted me, I had the same flashlight. I subdued her, tied her up, brought her upstairs.
Over the next 2 hours, Russell Williams repeatedly raped Marie-France Comeau, beating her viciously if she resisted. He recorded it all on video and photographed it. He asphyxiated Marie by wrapping her face with duct tape. He wrapped her body in a duvet and left it in her bedroom, where it lay undiscovered for more than 30 hours. While police searched Comeau's home for clues following the discovery, Russell Williams sent personal condolences to her father. In January of 2010, Russell Williams had already committed one murder of Marie-France Comeau. And then he committed a second, and he kidnapped his victim from this house right here. Jessica Lloyd. This is her house right in front of me. Over here, I'm gonna tell you what happened. First off, he parked his car off in the distance in that field and waited for her to come home. Now, a couple of guys had driven by just like that and noticed the car in the field. I thought that was odd. And so did a police officer. A police officer came by and knocked on the door, but Jessica wasn't home because they noticed a car off in the distance. But Jessica wasn't home yet. And it turns out, while that police officer was knocking on the door, Russell Williams was in the backyard. He had left his car parked over there and was in the backyard. So Jessica Lloyd came home. He assaulted her after she had gone to sleep, kidnapped her, and took her back to his house in Tweed.
Well, do you want to work forwards or backwards?
Doesn't matter.
Why don't we start with Jessica?
Okay.
How does that start for you?
I saw her in her house on her treadmill. Wednesday night, I guess. Then I noticed she wasn't there Thursday. So I got into the house to look around. Then I left. Noticed she'd come home. So I went back in.
This is an aerial view of Jessica Lloyd's property, and in the bottom right you'll see where it says tire tracks. And police found tracks whose distinctive tread narrowed the range of potential suspect vehicles to a few, including a Nissan Pathfinder. Here I am driving right to where the Pathfinder would have been parked. Witnesses reported seeing a silver-colored SUV parked in that field. Police as well, on the night of her disappearance. So right down this road, this is where Russell Williams lived. And this is where he ended up with Jessica that night. He kept her for a few more hours, repeatedly assaulting her. And then he said he was going to let her go. And as he began to walk towards the door, he hit her from behind and then strangled her in this house. And then he left, and he left her body in his garage for 48 hours. So I'm going to show you this house. And this house was his cottage. Instead of living on the base, he decided to live here, and he had the house in Ottawa, where his wife spent most of the time. So he had this house to himself during the week, Monday to Friday. And it was in this house where they found the majority of the evidence that ultimately convicted him. Videos, photos, underwear, bras, you name it. He kept it all meticulously documented, like I said, all in this house. Now, I've heard that the house sat empty for a long time because his wife still owned it. Now I've heard that the neighbors have bought it. I'm not sure of the case, but I know that the house is still here and it's vacant. So let's go take a look at that house.
Right now, there's a search warrant being executed at your residence in Ottawa. Okay? So your wife now knows what's going on. There's a search warrant being executed at your residence in Tweed, and your vehicle's been seized. Okay? You and I both know they're going to find evidence that links you to these situations. Okay? You and I both know that the unknown offender, male, on Marie France Comeau's body is going to be matched to you, quite possibly before the evening's over.
This is a comparison photo of the tire tracks found by the police outside of Jessica Lloyd's house. They match with the Pathfinder owned by Russell Williams. And these are the shoes that he was wearing when he crept around Jessica Lloyd's house. And he wore those same shoes to the police interview. On the evening of February 4th, Russell Williams was stopped at an Ontario Provincial Police checkpoint on Highway 37. While appearing to be looking for drunk drivers, the officers asked occupants of the vehicles questions pertinent to the search for Lloyd and examined tires. Williams said he was in a hurry because he had a sick child at home. During the brief roadside interrogation, officers saw that the tread of Williams' tires matched those found in the field. From that moment, Williams was under police surveillance. Suspicion mounted when police realized that Williams had lied about the sick child, and on the afternoon of February 7th, Williams went to Ottawa Police Headquarters and had the interrogation.
I want to minimize the impact on my wife.
So do I.
So how do we do that?
Well, we start by telling the truth.
Okay.
Okay. So where is she?
Get him out.
This lonely stretch of road is Carey Road, and it's about 10 kilometers away from the Tweed cottage owned by Russell Williams. And this is where he left the body of Jessica Lloyd. He chose this location because his neighbor, who had already been a suspect, had a hunting camp nearby, and he was attempting to frame him for the murder. Williams was eventually charged with murder, sexual assault, and forcible confinement. He would later be charged with numerous counts of break and enter. He spent the first 8 months in the Quinte Detention Center in Napanee, from which he made several court appearances via video link. Because Williams pleaded guilty to all charges, he was not put on trial. On Easter weekend in 2010, guards prevented Williams from choking to death on a cardboard toilet paper tube he had shoved down his throat. He was subsequently kept under 24-hour watch. On October 22, 2010, Williams was sentenced to 2 terms of life imprisonment with no possibility of parole for 25 years. His Nissan Pathfinder and his hoard of stolen garments were destroyed. Williams was stripped of his rank and dismissed from the Canadian Forces. His uniform was burned and his decorations were destroyed. His wife, who claimed to have known nothing about her husband's crimes, began divorce proceedings. Williams is now incarcerated in the maximum security prison at Port Cartier, Quebec, Canada. something that is like my worst nightmare is when I want to pay tribute to somebody and I cannot find their grave. And as you know, I never give up. And this one I thought I was going to have to. It's a very small cemetery, but there's the occasional flat stone. There's all above ground ones here, but checkered in and out, those flat ones. And I thought, and all I know is this is a cemetery. But I didn't give up, and I kept looking. And so this is a gravesite of Jessica Lloyd. Now, Marie Comeau, she's buried in Ottawa, just outside of Ottawa. So it's it's a lot further, a few hours from here that not able to make. She's just as important as Jessica, her story, of course. And it breaks my heart that I can't go there. Maybe one day I'll be able to get there. But here's Jessica Lloyd's final resting place. It reads, beloved daughter, Jessica Elizabeth, May 28, 1982 to January 29th, 2010. And her parents here. Proud parents and sister of Andy. Mother's still alive. Fresh flowers here, which is nice to see. And of course I brought a rock with me, and I brought one for Marie as well, because I can't make it out to her grave. And that's the story of Russell Williams. But while I'm here in this cemetery, I'd like to say that's part of the story of Jessica Lloyd and Marie Comeau. Their life is much more than this. What happened to them at the end, of course. So, as much as this video is about Russell Williams and true crime, I'd like to end it knowing that or paying tribute to the victims. And as always, when it comes to men like him, I hope whatever tiny cell he's in, I hope it gets smaller and smaller each day. And smaller and smaller. And I hope he lives a very, very long life in that small cell. And I hope he's suffering every day. Peace. Peace to Jessica and Marie and their families. Peace to you. Love you. Peace.